every fucking day, I'd have some dude come in, we got a fucking barbecue joint that doesn't sell ribs.
What the fuck is this?
What is this fucking donut? What's this fucking look like? Is this fucking dry? What is this? Is this mayonnaise? You know? So loud.
Yeah. Super loud. How about that?
It's good as long as we don't touch it.
It's a bear, don't
Just
touch
don't
it.
touch it.
What's up, Cory-san?
What's up, Mathew?
We are recording. And
Fubu Mafu. This is like fucking grape juice.
wild berry.
It's fucking delicious.
It's like, you feel the diabetes?
I do. It's like adult onset diabetes. Adult onset type 2 diabetes.
Well, welcome to Sequel Podcast. I'm Matt Bonta.
And I'm Cory Easley.
Back.
At it again.
I don't know if you made promises on last episode.
I mean, I
on mic. I don't think we did. I think we did.
I don't know if that's true.
Maybe we didn't. Maybe we were standing outside.
I think we were standing outside.
So then we won't. I don't know.
Yeah.
Cory said he was going to watch the drop, and he didn't watch the drop.
I did, and the play was crazy this week. A lot of work to be done. I'm serious. I'm
not laughing because I think that you're lying.
I spent more time, trying to get off book for this week, and did not lend itself to watching a film in my alert downtime.
Alert downtime.
Which it's a rare commodity for me.
That means you have to watch it and come back.
I do. I do need to do that. And I think this weekend's going to be a good weekend for that because I tossed my fucking back this week.
Oh, man.
This morning I woke up and just was like, clink, and it was out. So.
It comes with old age.
It's the downhill slope.
To death.
To death. So.
I'm trying to fill in this gap between 250.
Right, where are we at?
I think this is 45.
4-5, okay.
Yeah. 245 episodes in.
That's amazing.
It's fucking insane. It's insane.
So I keep getting these, how Facebook puts up your time hop memories.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, this is, 10 years ago, 7 years ago. And
you see the video ones that we did.
Yeah. And some of the ones that came up for me this week were like 7 years, and another one was 10 years, and it's like, wow, like I've wasted time. Because a lot of times it's like, okay, if you look at the 10-year one, it was a drawing that I posted.
Yep.
And 10 years ago, I was like, I'm gonna start drawing again because I used to draw, in high school and elementary school and stuff. I was like, I'm gonna start drawing every day and I'm gonna get better. So I did this drawing and it was like, I don't know, pretty good.
You never drew again after that.
Well, that's not 100% true. I've drawn other stuff since then, but in the 10 years that I've been drawing since then, I haven't really progressed a lot. Like, a little bit of progression.
Okay.
But if I had maintained the level of excitement that I had
10 years ago. When you were just a child.
Oh my God, it feels like it. Because I had the restaurant at that time. And that was one of the things I was doing. Like on slow time in the restaurant, I just get out my book and, it's my business, so I can do what the fuck I want. Mm-hmm. And it reminds me of, I don't know, it was
Have
a
we
saying
ever
or
talked
phrase.
About the fact that you had a business?
I don't know if we've talked about that or not.
I don't think we've ever talked about that.
That would amaze me.
No, I don't think we've ever talked about it on the podcast, and probably very little in real life.
Okay. I mean, it's a topic I love.
So you used to...
So, rewind.
Restaurant.
Yeah, well, so I was a mechanic for...
You're still a mechanic.
Yeah, but professionally I was a mechanic. And
are you an unprofessional mechanic?
I'm an unprofessional.
An amateur mechanic?
I would consider myself a hobbyist at this point. So, my dad had owned a pizza restaurant at one time.
So was that before? Because I wanted to get into that too.
Yeah.
Your dad also ran a pizza thing.
Joint, a pizza joint, a pizza parlor, whatever you want to call it. And
so
when
that came first?
Yeah, so when I was growing up, my dad was my inspiration as a cook. He always cooked and he always made good food. He learned how to cook from his mom and his grandma. And
isn't it like a Boys to Men song?
No,
who sings that?
I don't know what you're talking about.
My inspiration. I'm probably making that up, but
So, when I was a kid, he would always talk about having a restaurant, starting a restaurant. And I was like, yeah, okay, one of these days. Well, he had hurt himself at work, got a settlement. Long story short, he uses that money to open a restaurant with a partner.
A pizza restaurant.
Big Guy's Pizza.
Right, and we're
in Red Rock.
Every time I say something like this, like when Nomar's around, he says I'm doxing myself, but it was right up the street from where we are right now.
Yeah, it was on the end of Moya in Red Rock.
Where there is a pizza factory.
There is a pizza factory now. So, he opened that, and I was still working at the shop at the time.
Elson's?
At Elson's.
Doxed.
Where we've done a fair amount of filming there.
Whole fucking shit. We can't get away from it. Each movie.
I mean, it's such a convenient location because we have full control.
Right.
And we can be there when we want, and we can go in, and I have keys, and there's, natural setting that we can be in.
Absolutely.
There's an office and a counter and all the stuff. So, he opens this restaurant, and I'm like, this is fucking cool. This would have been before Callan was born, so
07, 08?
6.
06?
Yeah, 6.
I went in there
5,
once.
6, 7, something like that, yeah. So, he did that, ran that with his partner for a year and a half, 2 years, and then, it wasn't the best fit with the partnership, so he sold his half, kind of bailed out, went and did some other stuff. So then, 3 or 4 years later, this got to be 2011 or 12.
Yeah.
I decide, I want to do that. I've always wanted to have my own business. I want to open a restaurant too. And my dad had taught me how to make barbecue and smoke, pork and beef and briskets and pork shoulders and all this stuff. And he catered my wedding with the same style of food. And it was fantastic. And I was like, dude, we can fucking sell this. This is going to work. Because in my opinion, barbecue in this area is all very cookie cutter. It's all very plain, what you expect at, Dickies, BJ's, stuff like that. Right? It's not...
You just named the big two.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple other ones. Famous Dave's, Carolina Kitchen. At the time, I think it was called Oakland Barbecue or something like that. It was a little white and red joint down in Wells. They're not there anymore. So, not a lot of choices for local barbecue joints, and most of them are chains.
Right.
So I said, fuck it. The Rib Cook-Off kills here every year.
Shit, yeah, it does.
So we should be able to do something like that and put together this thing. And it's like, okay, well, let's make a menu. And it's like, okay, we're going to do burgers and pulled pork and brisket. And I, at the time, refused to do ribs. I was like, I fucking don't want to do ribs because it's time consuming. It's, it's hard to keep them ready, so that they're prime serving
Juicy
condition.
And,
and even at the Rib Cook-Off, they have a hard time doing it.
Really?
They make ribs.
Yeah.
And then, if you
that's the thing. You think barbecue.
Exactly.
You think ribs.
Yeah. So, I didn't want to do ribs. And we were open for probably 2 weeks when we finally opened up. And we didn't have ribs. And every fucking day, I'd have some dude come in, we got a fucking barbecue joint that doesn't sell ribs. Every day. So I was like, fuck. All right, fine. We're going to do ribs.
I mean, come on.
And
no
it's
brainer, right?
Yeah, and it was like, okay, I thought I could get away with it because everything else was so good, but ribs, was I don't know.
Staple.
It's a staple in a barbecue joint. And I was like, okay, fuck it. We'll do pork ribs only. No beef ribs. Because I hate...
difference? Like, I mean, it's
yeah,
an ignorant question to ask.
If you've ever had beef ribs...
But you think barbecue, you think pork.
Yeah.
So, like, what the fuck is a beef rib?
A beef rib is, dude, they're fucking this big. You know, they're probably, 8-10 inches long for the bone section of the rib. And it's got meat on it like a rib. It's just a plus size
cow's
pork rib. It's a cow's rib. It's exactly what it is. The problem with it is that rib meat is essentially a very tough meat anyway. Mm-hmm. And that's why it's so special that when you cook it properly, it gets this tender quality to it. Beef ribs are that much harder to make because the meat is so much tougher when you start. So, a lot of barbecue stuff was founded on the idea of, okay, we have this shitty leftover cut of meat. What can we do with it to make it edible? Mm-hmm. Or we have this piece of meat and we do this and that with the other cuts of meat. We make steaks and grind up the leftovers for burgers and stuff like that.
Don't they say that the... what is it? The term where they use the best meat is by the bone.
That's where the most flavor really is. Yeah. So, and a lot of that comes from cooking the meat with the bone in it, so that the flavors can get out of the marrow and all the stuff that's in the bone out to the meat when you're cooking it. So, I don't know. Funny story about the ribs. It was stupid and deep cut. So in that 2-week period of time when I was getting fucking harassed by customers for not having ribs, I was like, okay, fuck, we have to figure out how to do ribs. And I didn't really have a great recipe for doing ribs on my own because I didn't make them. I had friends that knew how to cook ribs, and I was like, okay, well, we have to back test this first before we make it and sell it. Because if we make something and we put it out and people go, oh, this fucking sucks, then that's gonna sour our whole reputation right out of the gate. We're going to be the fucking worst ribs in Reno.
Where were you located?
We were over on Clear Acre, just north of McCarran on Clear Acre. So there's just off of McCarran. So you have Hug, where Old Hug was.
Yep.
And then you go across the street where the Burger King is.
Yep.
Across the street, across Clear Acre from there is another shopping center, and
there used to be a barbecue place right there where the car wash is. Or is it car wash now? There used to be a barbecue.
There used to be a car wash. That's up the hill now. Where's Jim Boys? Jim Boys and the car wash are up on top of the hill across from.
So that Jim Boys used to be a fucking barbecue place.
Yes, and that Jim Boys used to be across the street next to where my restaurant was. Okay. Because there's a drive-through Porta Subs.
No.
There's a Duds and Suds in the corner.
Is Porta Subs still there?
Yes. And
it's a Mexican restaurant.
No. Right next to Porta Subs was where my restaurant was. And then across that drive-through driveway where the Jim Boys used to be, there's a Mexican restaurant in there.
Yeah,
It's called El Aldertos.
I've had a burrito there before.
Yeah, their breakfast burritos
are fine. Yeah, they're fine.
So we were in that spot, and we were, not a bad location, I don't think, but I think also not a great location.
School right across the street?
Very little school traffic.
Huh.
It was mostly lunch crowd from nearby commercial businesses, and then people getting off the freeway on their way home, dinner crowd. It was our primary things.
I never go there.
Yeah, it's not a popular way to go. And it's not a great location.
Yeah, I suppose not.
And that's, and the reason why we ended up there was because the rent was cheap enough. Because rent in Reno at that time, we were paying, it sounds stupid, but we were paying $350 a square foot.
Well, then you have to say how many square feet.
It was probably 700 square feet.
So $3.50.
$3.50 a square foot.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
so 3 times 7, $2,100 a month in rent. And then,
is that good? But
you know,
that's good,
I mean,
bad?
I was used to anywhere from 50 cents to $1.20-ish a square foot in the industrial automotive sector. Old buildings in the middle of old sparks. You know, you're paying 50 cents to $1.50 a square foot, and that seemed like a lot. But you're also buying a lot bigger building at that point. You're buying 3,000, 5,000, 10,000 square feet. So then your rent bill is high, but you also have a fuckload more room because you need it. We had a tiny kitchen, you know, and Midland size seating dining room. So that was an all-in thing, though. It was a total crapshoot. It was like, I want to do this, and right now I think we can swing it. My wife was making decent money at the time. She had gotten a new job, and we got a high-interest loan from like this, I don't even remember who it was, but it was like this angel investing thing where you could like apply for a loan at a high interest, and it was for startups and stuff like that, and we borrowed $20,000 to start. And I was using money from that $20,000 to make the monthly payments that started the first month that I borrowed the money. So it was eating itself.
Right.
Because I didn't have the money to pay it back.
Right.
I was counting on the business to do that.
Right.
But we had to get the money so that we could secure the location, so that we could buy equipment and all this stuff. And we had, you know, some tenant improvements to do to the building. We ground the fucking floors down with a concrete grinder, and we epoxy coated the floors, and we had, you know, we had to buy the stove and the grill top and all the shit. And we brought it all in there, and we got to put together, and it's like, I'm flying by the seat of my pants. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Yep. I'm making it up. Yep. I'm just doing whatever I got to do. My dad had been a contractor for, 25 plus years at that time, so he would come in and he had friends that could do some plumbing stuff for us, and we were able to force the landlords to fix a couple of things that came up on our inspection. It was like, hey, look, man, this place is a restaurant. The kitchen is supposed to be an industrial kitchen, and your fire system is out of code. So you have to fix it. So they spent like $10,000 fixing the fire system so that we could pass fire with the inspections. And then we got everything else put together, and I thought it was going to fall apart before it started. Because we got everything pretty much ready to go. And I was concentrated on detail, like dumb detail shit, like the t-shirts for the team. Like for me and my wife and the people that I was going to have working there. And, I made up these t-shirts and the stuff, and it's like we got them mailed in like last minute from across the country and printed up.
Sure.
Nowadays. Now it would be so much easier. Like we could have made them ourselves, basically.
Yeah.
And
that's
done
the
fine.
world we live in.
Yeah, it was such a
fucked
trip.
Up, right?
Yeah,
that was a lifetime ago.
Absolutely, and it's a completely different world. And I mean, the ability for marketing and shit like that, could have done a lot with what we have now, and
could have been a hipster hit.
Yeah, you never know. So we get to like the weekend before we're going to do our soft opening, which is like you don't really make a big deal about it. You just kind of turn the lights on and, people flow in anyway. Like the whole time we were getting ready, we had people knocking on the door, people coming up, and it was like, okay, cool. We're going to get some business because there's people that are curious.
Right.
So we get up to the last weekend before our soft opening the next week. And that weekend, I'm out of town for a wedding. So I have people at the restaurant doing things to finish up. They're finishing up the final cleaning. We have the inspectors coming in on Monday to do the health inspection, and then like Tuesday we're going to run open. And I'm in wherever it was, San Francisco or something like that. And I get a phone call in the middle of, Sunday after I've already had the event. We're hanging out. We're getting ready to turn around and come home, and I get a call Sunday, and they're like, dude, we have a huge fucking problem. Some bootleg bullshit that had been done before we came in. It's called a grease trap.
Yep.
So, the way it's supposed to work is the drains in the kitchen are supposed to go through a sand trap that's out in the street. That's like part of the plumbing of the tap into the city plumbing.
Mm-hmm.
These people didn't have that. They had a grease trap, which is a bootleg way to do that and keep the grease out of the drain system without putting in a real sand trap. And it backed up. And then I was like, okay. So we called, and then they sent plumbers out, and they fixed the problem. But when they were fixing the problem, they pressurized the pipe or something, and it fucking exploded like liquid, greasy, shit water looking mud all over the kitchen that we had just cleaned for the last week to prepare for the health inspection that was the next day.
Yikes. And
it finally got, all the stuff had gotten fixed, and we were getting ready, and the health inspector was coming, and boom, wrecks fucking everything. So then I'm on my way back, speeding back from San Francisco. I get there late at night, and all the people that I had, fucking bless those people, you know, they had spent that entire time from when I talked to them and it happened to when I got there late that night and through that night to the next day to clean everything in the kitchen over again after they had already done it the day before to get us ready for the inspection. The health inspector showed up Monday afternoon, 100%. Like we went through, not a problem. So we ended up okay, but when that happened, it's like, fuck, dude, this is never gonna happen. It's not gonna work out.
Right.
Like we're sunk before it even happens.
Sounds familiar.
Oh, it feels like it sometimes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like one little thing just could tank your whole fucking operation. And I don't know, it's hair raising.
It's a house of cards.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're just, you know, as the guy running the show, you're just trying to balance it all. And every time you see something slip a little bit, you like just put your hand over and like try to prop it back up. And then that pushes all the other side. And you reach over, and then you're all fucking and all the while you're balancing that house of cards, you're trying to put more cards on top. You're trying to make it harder.
Every time I make a movie.
Yeah. So you know exactly how I feel and how I felt. It's like every little thing is something that needs to happen. It's a detail that's important, but at the same time, each detail and each added thing can make the whole fucking show just fall apart and shit in your face.
Right.
And it's fucking hair raising, but and you could correct me, but being the guy in charge is both very stressful, but also the most rewarding feeling.
Yeah.
Because you are literally creating a thing that is your vision, and you're in charge of its success. Mm-hmm. There are other people that are responsible for it too. Yeah. But ultimately,
you're all playing the game.
Yeah. Ultimately, it's all yours.
Yeah.
Like the glory belongs to you, and that's a feeling that I'll never forget, of owning a business and answering to myself, and I didn't make a fucking dime. Like, it cost me money.
Sure.
I, get to that part of the story, but it was not a successful venture.
Sure.
But it was still probably the best, 9 months of my life.
That's a good run.
From, that was open to close was about 9 months. Mm-hmm. And we had about 3 months before that where I was working. And then when I went down to the county, or the state, I think I went to Carson, and you have to go in, and when you file your stuff, you have to register it, and it has to be recorded. And you have to go down and have somebody do it, and you pay them a thing, and they do that. And then you're official. But once I did that, I went back to work the next day, because I had taken off a half a day to go around town and sign stuff and put stuff in. And I went back to work the next day, and my boss knew what I was doing. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like I was hiding it from him. Mm-hmm. And he knew that it was coming. And one day I walked in and I said, hey, man, we've been talking about this, and, I had to work up, the nerve and the courage to tell him, because it's like, I don't know, maybe different scenarios feel the same way, but it's like, I have to give you my notice, and it's not because I don't like working here, it's not because I don't respect you, it's because I respect you that I'm doing this, because watching you, own your own business and run it and be successful and all this stuff, it makes me want to do that, and it was, in honor of him to do that, to do what I was doing.
Right.
And I think he understood that, because he was like, yeah, man, just like, that's fucking awesome. And he was really super cool about it. And he gave me the vote of confidence, is like, yeah, fucking go out and crush it, dude. Because you'll never know if you don't do it. And it's like, sweet. Mm-hmm. And it was like, made me feel like I was allowed to. And there's a million and one business guys out there that will comment on what I just said. But one that comes to mind is Gary Vee says shit like this all the time. I don't know if you know who he is. Gary Vaynerchuk.
I don't know.
Yeah, he's VaynerMedia. He does a lot of stuff. You would know him if you saw him. He's very popular on the internet.
Me too.
Yeah. Super popular. So, but what he would say is the reason why you're not XYZ, you're not a business owner, you're not an entrepreneur, you're not doing this, why you're looking at me as a very successful entrepreneur, and you're looking at me saying, Gary, what do I do? How do I do this? It's like, stop fucking looking for people's approval. Stop looking for somebody to allow you to be what you want to be. And this comes back all full circle to when we talked about acting or movie making or any kind of creation, content creation.
Just do it.
You are that already. You are a director. You are a writer, a screenwriter, playwright. You are a podcast host.
An influencer.
You are an influencer. You do those things. So I do, therefore I am.
Yeah.
So don't ask somebody, how do I be that? Just fucking be it.
Right.
And, we've had this conversation a lot. It's like, you just keep fucking doing it. And one of these days, if you're lucky, some of that shit will stick to the wall. Right. And people will notice, and you'll make some bucks. And it might not be, the millions you want to make, but the gift of doing it, the gift of providing that art to the public at your own expense, that's the reward on itself. And so the barbecue business was the same for me. Mm-hmm. It was like, yeah, I want to make money, and I had big plans. I'm like, I'm going to franchise this motherfucker. We're going to get it rolling. People are going to be like, The Pit was the name of the business, was the name of the shop.
Didn't we put a T-shirt in Street Touch?
We might have.
On the TV,
I think. Yeah. It was draped over the TV.
And then we dumped the TV on Cheyenne's head.
Yeah, I remember that. It was funny because it just happened to be at my mom's house was why it worked.
Right.
So, we throw down and put this restaurant together, and it's like, it's good. The food's good. I had never had a legit bad comment about the food.
No one was shitty.
No one was shitty about it. I mean, and it wasn't for everybody. Like, it was very intense smoke flavor. Not like disgusting. It was just like, it was a lot. Mm-hmm. But we smoked it in the way that style of cooking was designed to be done. Because I feel like most commercial barbecue joints, here it comes, shots fired, they're fucking cheaters. Every barbecue joint I've been to, with the exception of one or two places, are fucking cheaters. They're using a gas oven with a fucking pellet smoker attached. Mm-hmm. Now, guys out there,
here we go,
with Traegers.
Here we go.
Guys out there with Traegers, I'm going to give you a fucking pass. Because at least you are using the heat of the wood fire to cook the meat. Mm-hmm. Okay? But I've seen these industrial smokers that are at the, at these restaurants. I've seen them. Uh-huh. They're not hiding it.
Right.
That's how they do it.
Uh-huh.
And that's fine. But you don't impart the same level of smoked flavor and content with pellet smoke and oven heat as you do when you actually smoke something through with fucking fire, with firewood. I had a firewood guy that literally chopped cherry trees down in orchards in California and brought them up, and I bought firewood from him every month to smoke meat with. Mm-hmm. And I went out with a fucking, a handful of newspaper and some logs and made a fire every morning to cook on. Mm-hmm. And It was intense. It's a flavor that a lot of people go, whoa, that's a lot. Mm-hmm. But that's the way the style is done.
Right.
That's the real way.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and it might be gatekeepy and all this shit, right? And I'm not shitting on other people's barbecue styles, right? If you're barbecuing and it fucking tastes good, fuck it. But that's the style that I wanted to swing at. And that's the old school, you know, very southern style of smoking meat.
Yep.
By literally burning wood.
Yep.
So we did that, and I don't know. It wasn't the food. It was mostly the location, and probably my naivete of business ownership and, you know, costing and pricing things, where I'm like, I had this idea that it should be this price because this is what the real cost is, and plus to make some money, this is what it's at, and what I should have been charging almost double of what I was charging. But like I said, naivety and not having experience in that industry and not having enough supplemental experience around me of successful.
See, now we could be like
rentals.
Shooting commercials.
Yeah, I mean, and there's a lot of stuff that we could be and could have been doing in this
Facebook,
day and age.
Reddit.
I've considered doing it again.
Craigslist.
I've considered doing it again because the feeling of business ownership to me is it's such a rush.
You could host parties.
Absolutely.
Right? Like
catering.
Like, hey, we just did a movie premiere. Let's go back and throw some money down at Cory's place.
You know.
For everybody knows your name.
Bum.
And you're always glad you came.
I don't even remember the rest of it, man. That's a trip. So, yeah.
But so you weren't getting enough people in.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't, like I said, it was a combination of things. It was, you know, not enough traffic on a consistent enough basis.
Wasn't charging enough.
We weren't charging enough for a lot of things. Mm-hmm. And, you know, XYZ equals failure.
Did you have a soda fountain in there?
Oh, yeah. Oh, dude, that was probably the worst part. Was that I was used to cooking so much meat, like hundreds of pounds a week of pork and brisket, that I was tired of looking at cooked meat. Like, it was funny because I was so into the food we were making, burgers and everything else. And then after about 2 months, I was so sick of looking at it that I wouldn't eat it. Mm-hmm. I would eat it, but I wouldn't eat regularly. Right. And I was so stressed about the money and everything.
Maintaining.
Like, in my mind, I'm Gordon Ramsay, right? Everything has to be perfect before it goes across the counter. I was a terror to work for. I apologize posthumously to everyone who worked for me. I mean, I yelled at people that I love for what my perception of quality would have been.
What the fuck is this?
What's a fucking donut? What's this fucking look like? Is this fucking dry? What is this? Is this mayonnaise? You know? But I had a very high standard in my mind of what things should look like.
Right. I mean,
so if I saw something that was wrong, I took it personally.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, fucking wrong. All that's all fucking shit. That goes in the garbage can. Fucking we start over with this, do that.
You have every right to do that, though.
Yeah.
You have every right to do that.
Absolutely. And I could have been nicer about it.
Well, it reminds me of a story, like Rob Zombie's like directing Halloween or something. He's like, I've got no problem coming in here and tearing the whole thing down if it looks like shit.
Yeah.
Right. You know, the set designer goes in and, you know, whatever, builds the set, makes it look with like the spider webs, like, you know, it looks like shit, and he'll tear the whole thing down and start over.
Yeah, and when it's your name on it,
yeah, you're
the guy they're going to look at.
Yeah,
and they're going to go, oh, you know, Cory's barbecue restaurant fucking sucks,
right?
Because this reason,
right?
You know, so like I said, I had this picture of what quality was in my mind, and I enforced it because I was there like 90% of the time. You know, after several months, my family could see that I was burning myself out pretty bad because I was there all the time. Like I was there from opening to closing late at night, and I had, people running through shifts, but I was always in the kitchen. I was always there. And towards, the last 3 or 4 months that we were there, it was me and my mom and my stepdad, and we were running the whole thing. Mm-hmm. Just the 3 of us.
It got down to the bare minimum.
Yeah, it was like, we can't afford to pay anybody because we're not making rent. We're barely making the payments on the loan. We're definitely not making money ourselves. So these were the people that would do it for me for free. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I don't have to pay myself, right? Yeah. And that's legal. I don't have to pay myself.
Right.
And those people are my family, my direct family, and they are volunteering to work for me. So like, I had people working for me, and I paid them for the work they did because they worked up front. They're like, I was like, hey, we have to like make some money before I can pay you. So like, here's hoping we get to this point. And it's like, we got, down the way, and it was like, okay, it took me a little while. Some of the people that worked for me early on put in a lot of hours getting ready that were just unpaid. Yeah. That were just voluntary basis.
Sounds familiar.
And we get to the point, and it's like, okay, well, sorry, man, I can't keep paying you. Mm-hmm. Like, this injures me, but you earned it. So I, paid these people a regular payroll, but it got down to the point where it was like, I can't afford to have you all the time. So it's like, I had people that were young kids, man. They're my little brother's friends, and they were coming in and, filling on a Saturday or a Sunday so I could have dinner with my family and spend some time with Callum when he was little. But at the end, it was the 3 of us, and it was murder. Like, my stepdad would come in and open, and then I would drop Callum off at daycare, and then I would come in, and we would work, get everything ready, make all the food for the day, work through the lunch crowd, and then, he's disabled, so he has, like, a limit of how much energy he can expend all at once. So he would work, up through the lunch, and then like 1 o'clock, it would just dip off like hard until 4:30, 5 o'clock. Mm-hmm. So, but it was like trickle throughout the day. Mm-hmm. And so then he would split and, go take a nap or go home or whatever. Yeah. And then my mom had a full-time job. She'd go to work early, get off, and then right at 5 o'clock, she would come from her job to the shop.
Like the casino?
Yeah. So she would get off at the casino and she would come straight to the restaurant. And then she would work with me through the dinner rush.
Close.
And then close. Mm-hmm. And then, we would count all the money and do the book for the night. And then clean everything up. All the food was just like every fucking night. We were open 6 days a week. And it was murder. Yeah. Like, it was so fucking hard for everybody. And and a lot of the equipment that we had bought was all secondhand shit. It was all, cheap as we could get it, right? It was stuff that my dad had found that we got really cheap, and then he fixed it for me, and we got it together. We put all this stuff in there, and it was working, but it was like just barely. And we lost one of our coolers, broke overnight, and that cooler had all the meat in it that we had cooked from the day before. Yeah. Because it's a 12+ hour process to cook this meat to make for the line. And it had, so I mean, you're talking, a day and a half's worth of work. And there were days when we ran out of meat, and we're cooking, and it's like, if we don't stay and cook this overnight, we're not gonna have product for the morning. Mm-hmm. So my stepdad, on many occasions, he would camp out down at the restaurant. He would, because Porta Subs would close, so he would pull his truck up in the drive-thru at Porta Subs, which was right next to where the island from the drive-thru was next to the front of my building. Yeah. And we had the smoker out on the front of the sidewalk, and he would pull up in the truck and post up.
Wow.
And have the smoker running all night, and just every couple hour, every hour, checking the temp, poking the fire, feeding the fire, wow. All fucking night, and then take it in the house, and once it was done, then cool it, and then put it in the cooler, and then I would come in the next day, and it was just complete dedication because they believed in the dream, right? And that's why we were all killing ourselves. We're like, this is gonna work. This is gonna work. This is gonna work. We're gonna fucking do this.
Right.
And we
You're
were
gonna
just
hit
like
that
forcing.
point.
Right. The idea was like if we could stay alive through the fall and winter into the springtime, because that was what happened. It was like February. No, was it? I remember Valentine's Day or something like that. So it was like that summer into the next year. We opened. It was like August. So through the winter we were all there, and then like coming up February, it's like, oh man, we're almost there. And it was like chugging up the hill, and it's like if we can make it to March, April, the sun starts, things start warming up again, and we're gonna be okay because we already made it through lean season. We just gotta keep making it a little bit further, just chugging right along. We're barely fucking making it. Like we were at a point where I was dodging the landlord. Yeah. Like they were calling me and they're like, hey, we're gonna talk about, catching up on this rent. And I had already fed him a sob story. It's like, look, man, we're fucking dying over here. Like I'm not paying myself. I'm not paying, everybody else is working volunteer. We're barely making it.
Yep.
It's like, I don't know why. I don't know. And it was bad business practice. Like we were just doing a shit job of running the business because none of us really knew how. Mm-hmm. And I think, too little too late, I had reached out to a business mentoring program that's available here in town, and I had a guy come out and talk, but it was too late. Like if I had done that 4 months ago, maybe you could have turned it around. Mm-hmm. But I didn't learn enough fast enough, and it failed. So we get to about February, and I come in, and the whole restaurant is hot. And what happens? Power's off. Well, no, it had nothing to do with the power.
Okay.
So what happens is refrigeration is exchanging heat from inside the cooler through the coils into the compressor and the gas and everything else. So there's the system that's running, and something failed in our cooler, and I had 2 big coolers and a big freezer, and then some small coolers, and one of the big coolers failed, and I came in and it was like I opened the door to the cooler, and it was like 40 plus degrees, 50 degrees inside the cooler, and it's like, fuck, everything in here has to go. Yeah, it all gets thrown out. Yeah. So we had we had not even enough food to start for the day. Mm-hmm. Like we had hamburgers, because all that stuff was in a different cooler, and we had some frozen stuff that was like emergency backup, and it was like, that's fine, we can open up for the day and we can sell what we have, but this is $1,800 to $2,500 piece of equipment. Like I have to pay my mortgage this month, and I'm already taking money out of my personal budget that my wife is making at her job to try to feed this business and keep it alive. And when I saw that, I raged for a minute. Like I screaming and yelling around the kitchen, God damn it, and fucking everything else, and I'm throwing shit because it's like I just lost, probably $1,000 worth of food. Yeah. And then about $2,000 to $3,000 worth of equipment, and a whole day's business. Yeah. Now, could have, would have, should have. There are a lot of things you could have done at that point, and but I was like, at this point, I don't feel like I have choices. I was like, I have to throw in the towel. Like, I can't. And I didn't decide that right away, but I was like, okay, well, we're closed today. So we put a sign up on the window. And I was like, I need to go think. I didn't even know what to do. And I just drove around town, like, looking for solace or inspiration or something. Because it's like... It's where's the sign? Like, where's the sign? Like, what the fuck do I do now? Yeah. Because it was like all shit in your face all at once. Yeah. And I don't know. I don't even remember what I did, but I remember calling around to some people, and I was not going to ask anybody for money because everybody I knew had already gave me all they could. Mm-hmm. Like my mom and my stepdad, they didn't have any money to give me, but they gave me their souls to run this business. I mean, that's what it feels like, and I will forever be indebted to them. You know, and I had borrowed money from my dad, and I had borrowed money from his girlfriend, and it's like, and I still owed them that money, and it's like, I can't ask them for money. And then the people that I knew had money, that I could ask for money, is like, they won't give it to me, and I'm not going to ask them because I'm too proud. Mm-hmm. And then other people that maybe would have given me money, it's like, nah, too proud to ask.
Sure.
And I called around and I talked to some people, and they're like, hey man, you know, sometimes you gotta know when to quit, and sometimes you gotta know when to hold them, know when to fold them,
know when to walk away, know when to run.
And this was one of those times when it was like, it's time to run. Mm-hmm. You know, so we go. Like I said, I drove around town, and I thought I called some people and got some mentoring from some people I trust, and it's like, they're like, dude, sometimes you don't have a choice. Sometimes it is what it is, and you just gotta lay it down, and you go back to work, and then maybe you take another stab at it at another time, and you try again, and do whatever it is. And I think, out of all the people that I should have felt, I don't know, embarrassed or like whatever the feeling was, right? Like I felt ashamed almost, was my grandma, and she was sick and in and out of the hospital at that time, and I remember having to call her and tell her, I was like, hey, you know, Grandma, like, the restaurant's not going to make it, you know, we have to close it. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I felt like terrible having to tell her that, like, because the look on her face when we got it going, and she came in, and she would come in with her church girlfriends and stuff on Sunday, and they would have their thing, and then they would come to have, you know, early lunch at my restaurant, and she would just talk how great everything was, her grandson and all this stuff. So I felt so bad that I had to call her. At the time she was in the hospital, and I had to call her and tell her, I was like, hey, Grandma, it's not working, and I can't keep it. I can't keep it up. And she goes, you know, that's one of those things. It's just like, it is what it is. Mm-hmm. And you just got to listen to yourself, and you got to listen to God and all the stuff she said. And it's like, she said, but it's okay. You know, it's okay to let it go. You know what I mean?
You're getting choked up.
No, but she said it was okay to let it go, and I think that was one of the people that I was like, okay, then it's okay.
Oh, yeah.
And I made the call, and I called everybody, and I said, hey, that's it. It was like, you know, I need to round up a crew to empty this place out, to take all of our shit out, to strip all of our stuff.
Strike the restaurant.
Yeah, strike the set. And store everything.
Put it to bed.
That was it. And we took all the shit that we purchased, that we brought into the building. We left all the stuff that they, you know, had in the building when we started.
Yeah.
We left it better than we found it. Mm-hmm. And that was it. I called them up, and I told them, I was like, hey, we're out. Sorry about the rent. Mm-hmm. You know, of course they want you to pay it, but
right.
And then, you know, it caused me to file bankruptcy personally, because it's like, I have fucking shitload of money that I owed to people and vendors and all this other stuff, and it's like, I tried to get right with as many of them as I could, but it was like, it was burying me personally at home, and it was like, I have to choose this restaurant in my house, and it's like, I have a wife and a kid, and it's like, I can't put us out of a place to live. So we hung it up, and that was it. But it's an experience that if you have the stomach for it, for the excitement and the level,
excitement.
I mean, it is exciting. It's very exciting. But if you have the stomach for that level of pressure and excitement and everything else, like, 100% recommend it. It's hard. Mm-hmm. And it's fucking scary, and it's dangerous. You know, financially it can be dangerous.
Oh, yeah.
But there's no feeling like it, dude. It's fucking rush.
Well, what do they say? Greater the risk, greater the reward.
The bigger they are, the harder they fall. So, but yeah, no, it's fucking total gas, and I have aspirations of doing it again, doing it different.
Another barbecue restaurant?
I was thinking just like doing a food truck.
Well, I mean, I guess that's the way people do.
The investment now for that is kind of a high investment. It's, you know, it's a big outlay up front, but then you own your overhead. Mm-hmm. You know, you have your licensing, your food costs, and your commissary, which is like, for a food truck, you have to have a home base that is a commercial kitchen, so you have to rent commissary, a professional kitchen space where you do stuff. Even if you run like 99% of your business out of your truck, you still have to rent commissary space. You have to have a home base. And that gets inspected by the health department. Yeah, I've done some research, and I have some people that I know that have done it. But, you know, it's kind of a big outlay, and it's a big risk. You know, you're going to spend $50,000 getting a truck together and stocking it up and getting everything set to jet. And then you got to go out and run it.
Right.
And, you know, your location is wherever you can get it.
Right.
You know, and there's a lot of action all around town where you can go do food truck stuff. It doesn't even have to be events.
Construction sites. You
post up, you know, at the corners of, like, neighborhoods and shit where people are like, oh, yeah, I'm always going by here. But it's like, if I was going to do that now, it would be, like, super limited menu. Because the size of our menu at the barbecue restaurant was, like, almost unmanageable. It was so fucking hard to keep up with all the shit you needed to make everything. You know, we were doing borderline short order. We had a lot of stuff that wasn't barbecue.
Oh, really?
Just because we were trying to have options for people.
Yeah.
You know, but, you know, I would just slim it way down. Just fucking burgers and fries. Burgers, fries, maybe some other fried bullshit because it's easy to have in the freezer and all you got to do is throw it in the fryer. Right? So, just keep it simple.
Well, I know you, for the wrap party on Godsaw, you made pizza.
I did do that. That was pizza in the style of my dad's pizza restaurant.
Right.
That was the other idea, was to reprise my dad's pizza restaurant with his recipes, which are fucking fantastic. That's the pizza I made for the wrap party. And to reprise
I couldn't even tell you. I'm sure I liked it, but like, it was a wild night.
Yeah.
You know, we were celebrating.
We all had quite a bit to drink.
Fuck, Patrick brought,
what the fuck was he drinking?
Was like wild turkey or
something stupid. Fireball or... SoCo. Oh, that's what it was. SoCo.
SoCo.
That's like fucking
He thought it was so funny.
Oh, yeah.
He was so excited about that SoCo.
And he did, till he drank about 2/3 of it, and he was horking in my backyard.
Did he throw up in your backyard?
Oh, yeah. He was so fucking wasted, and it's like, I had to force him to stay.
Really?
Yeah.
He stayed the night at your place?
He stayed for several more hours after everybody left.
Oh,
I put him out on the couch, I brought him a blanket, and I think he split early in the morning. Mm-hmm. But hopefully after he had been sobered up a little bit.
Interesting.
But, yeah, the pizza idea would be to do the same kind of thing. Do a food truck, and then just do pizza.
That's not bad.
And do pizza food truck. So
that's not bad. Coming 2024.
It's one of those things. It's one of those things that's definitely still on my list of projects. And if I were to find the right deal, the right availability on a food truck that would be semi-suitable for, you know, business without too much more outlay than purchasing the truck, I would probably buy it and then get all my stuff together for the business license and all get legit, get all stuff set up, and then I would run it, you know, 3-4 nights a week. You know, run it Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or, you know, first part of the week or last part of the week, something like that. Wherever I think thought I could get the best, you know, bang for my buck. And once it got to the point where it was like sustaining itself a little bit, then I would ramp it up. Mm-hmm. And if it got to a replacement value for me for having a job, then I'd run it full time. And I'd fucking quit my job.
We've got to get away from these jobs.
Absolutely. Work is soul-sucking poison of Western, actually all civilizations.
Of life.
Of modern society. Because cooking to me is art in its own right. Like, it's not the same as painting, it's not the same as acting, but it is a creation and a creation of a thing for enjoyment by others.
Yeah.
And that was one of the reasons why I did a food business. Because like, I want to own my own business. I want to work for myself. What do I do? And I go, well, you know, food's good. Food makes everybody happy. People like food.
People love food.
And that was one of the T-shirt slogans I put on the thing that I made.
People
these T-shirts.
Like food?
No, it was come in, get full, leave happy.
Uh-huh.
That was the thing on the back of the T-shirt, and it's true. It's like food makes people happy.
Oh yeah.
Good food.
That's why people like depressed eat.
Yeah, absolutely. it's a coping mechanism for people with eating disorders.
Gosh. Yeah.
But, you know,
100%.
At the end of the day, you know, it's an exchange. It's a value exchange for people who like to make food to people who like food.
That's a good word, good term. It's like, you know, my spatial displacement thing. I've got a new one. Allowance for levity is my new phrase.
Okay.
But an exchange, like being bankrupt, jobs, you know, make us bankrupt.
Well, yeah, and I mean
and that exchange is happening there.
Yeah,
you're exchanging whatever for your job,
but
you ain't getting shit in return.
You're on the suck end of it.
Oh yeah,
you know, you're exchanging your time for that money.
You're exchanging your life.
They're getting the upper end.
The
of
machine that will never die.
Yeah,
you will.
Yep,
and you are. Yep. Very slowly, maybe even fast. Who knows?
Some days.
So yeah, no, it's not a good exchange.
But that's the trick, I think, is for us to figure out as people how to change, how to redirect that value exchange. I got that term from a YouTuber. No, it's a YouTube. It's Bear Independent that I watch, and he does, you know, daily live or 3 days a week lives, and he gets to the end of
the way you talk.
He gets to the end of the live stream, and he says, you know, for those of you on that are listening, that, you know, jump off when it comes time to talk about the value exchange. So like when we start talking about, if you're interested in listening to these podcasts, you know, we're over on Patreon. You can download these things for free. And, you know, you're on YouTube right now. You can like and subscribe, ring the bell, right? Those are the value exchange things. Like, we're trying to provide entertainment. Their value exchange to us is to like and subscribe and do those things so that we get the benefit algorithmically, and eventually, you know, if our value exchange is high enough, if we're giving enough entertainment to people that want it enough, then our exchange becomes a net positive for us. And that which we give to them is enough for them to give to us. So to be able to upend the value exchange you have of working for the, you know, for the man, for the economic slave drivers, where they're making all this money off of all the things we do, and it's always profit on their end while we're fucking sliding backwards in economy.
Well, if we had 1 million people give us $1 a month.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
$1 million a month.
Absolutely. And you could do all kinds of great shit with that, you know?
Yeah.
But that is a whole nother podcast. Guaranteed.
Man, we spent the entire time talking about your restaurant. Yeah. I didn't think it was going to go that long. I know.
You asked.
I know. And now we got the story of Cory. How's your week been? You said you're busy.
Other than that, it's just a lot of work and rehearsal doing Die Difficult.
Which we discussed last time.
The Good Luck Macbeth.
It still hasn't started
Theater.
yet.
It has not started. It starts December 1.
This might
drop 4 shows a week.
This could potentially be the Thanksgiving episode.
Yeah. So if you're hearing
this drops on Thanksgiving while you're standing in line at Walmart,
eating your turkey
in line at Walmart because you're crazy. You could be listening to me and Cory with his sob story about the loss of a restaurant.
I had to mourn the loss of my restaurant.
While you're there eating your fucking deep fried barbecued turkey.
That was an idea we had at the restaurant. We were gonna do a Thanksgiving offer, like a smoked turkey package. So we're like, you could pre-order, and we would pre-prep it so that it was cooked. All you had to do is heat it up.
Sure. Rayleigh's does that.
Yeah, exactly. Same kind of thing. We were going to do that. Didn't come around, though.
So convenient.
Oh, yeah.
Look, if perfect world, and I've done it at least twice, I do, like, the whole thing where you brine the turkey.
Oh, yeah.
And everything else. But I would like to need to not have a job.
Absolutely. Like, if you don't
need the week off for Thanksgiving.
if
which
you
would
don't
never happen.
have to cook and you don't love it, it's almost one of those things like, why would you go through all the effort?
I love cooking.
See, if you like cooking, that's one thing.
I like cooking, but I need my space, man.
I don't, yeah, same. I like cooking. I don't mind sharing the kitchen with my wife and like with my family, my parents. But when the group of cooks gets too large, too many cooks, it gets to the point where it's like, okay, I need like everybody to fuck out of my way.
Yeah.
Because like I have a program, and the way I do shit is a certain way, and if you're in my fucking way, or you have your program collides with mine,
I'm a freak out.
Yeah. So.
Did you go home or did you come straight from?
Came straight from the theater.
Oh fuck.
Yeah. I haven't had dinner yet. Alcohol and sugar on an empty stomach.
Nah, you'll be good.
I'll be good. I'm gonna go home and grub down.
Eat some turkey.
Yeah.
Good turkey coming up. Do you want to talk about Thanksgiving real quick?
I don't know.
What are your Thanksgiving plans?
Our plans are weird this year. I won't say why. You know, it's like we have like this weird like disparity of like what people are doing, and they don't match up because people that didn't have kids before have kids now.
God,
and
what
then
a world.
like those people are married, so they have their thing that they're doing
How
with
depressing.
their extra family members, like their families, and that all doesn't line up all at the same time. So I think it's just going to be like the nucleus, my family, maybe the wife's parents, maybe my parents, not positive. Because I don't know what everybody wants to do yet. Like, we haven't really hashed
Time's
it out.
running out, dude.
But we always make a big dinner anyway.
You make
like
turkey?
We have a big-ass fucking turkey that we buy in advance.
Maybe I'll come over. I don't know if Rose has worked. Rose has been...
You know what, dude?
Traditionally, she's been working at GSR.
You're always welcome at my house. And if the wife is working, come over. You spend fucking whole day, you come over just for dinner, you can split whenever you want. There's always plenty of food.
God, you know what I miss?
We could throw down the Thanksgiving Turkey Bowl podcast live stream.
We could. You know, like as a single dude, I always enjoyed when they made us start working on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I got nowhere to be.
Yeah, nothing to stick to.
And, you know, even if I wasn't, even I had family in town, right? It's like, well, just come in and work for, you know. You
Especially
go home
if you
and
work
eat.
for the morning,
Let
you
them
go home.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Out by 2 or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, no one's going to
Plus,
miss
it's probably double time anyway.
Double time and a half.
There
Bank
you go.
PTO back in the day. Now it's all fucked. That's yours, by the way. I don't want you to leave without taking that. That
Okay.
book is for you.
Okay.
And that's your tripod. I think I'm done with it.
Dope.
I did want to say, I got a bug.
Up your ass.
I got a writing bug. I don't know if I'm going to do it. But I've been listening to this Halloween podcast dedicated to the movie series Halloween.
Okay.
Not unlike the Friday the 13th series.
Okay.
But I think that's Friday the 13th. Halloween
Is
is
I always mix them up.
I had an idea about 10 years ago, when you first podcasted with me.
I think I know where this is going.
And listening to this podcast kind of got the juices flowing a little bit. Maybe I'll write it, maybe I won't. But I think it would be funny if it's like you and Greg are playing like parents to like the leads who would be like teenagers getting, you know, stalked by Michael Myers.
Okay.
It's fucked up to think that
I mean, at this point, dude, we're old enough to play the parents of some of these kids, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
And I think that'd be funny. Like, Cory's playing Bill. And his kids are like Tanner.
It'd be like way on the nose because they're like, just play dad character.
How depressing is that, though?
I don't know. It's fun.
It's fun. Yeah, it's a fun idea and depressing at the same time. Like, I was weed in Friday the 13th, the Midnight Bloodshed.
But you don't always get to be the kid anymore.
It's
wild.
And and that's what I was thinking when I was thinking about turning my sister's kidnapping story into a movie. Like, my mom was 21, just turned 21 when my sister, 3 years old, was kidnapped. And her husband, my stepdad, was 38. I am 38 right now. You're 38 right now.
Yeah. It's fucking wild,
and
man.
like her mom would have been like 41.
Yeah.
Right? So, and then her mom, so great grandma, would have been like another 20 years above that, like 61. And it's like, fuck. Right? Like, it's just a weird thing to think about. Like, my sister was 3. She's like 35 right now. Like, it happened like over 30 years ago. And like I'd be casting, I don't know who I would cast to play like my stepdad. But like my friend Grace is like 20, 21. Kind of looks like my mom. She can play my mom. She can go hang out with my mom. Get some like character study down or whatever like that. I'm like, Stephanie, bust out all the early 90s photos. Like I want to see what like they all look like. What Right. I was thinking it'd be cool if we went to like the places, right? I mean, going to Tennessee is one thing, but like if I throw a scene in where I grew up at the trailer park, like I would be up for going and knocking on a door and being like, hey,
I used to live here.
Can we film in here?
Yeah.
Like I'd want to look around. I can't imagine that it looks the same, but reasonably close.
Right.
Or like where my grandma, her house would be in Sun Valley,
right.
Pearl Drive, doxed, and being like, hey, can we come in and film in here? Like, you wouldn't need to, right? But, like, why not try?
Sure.
And just, like, have these people play these people in my lives, right?
It'd be a trip.
Like, you would play your dad in a movie about something that happened to you when you were...
Right. Be a close enough approximation.
Then you gotta find some little kid to play you.
Right.
So, I mean, I guess you have 3 options.
I have little kids. Sammy's actually really, really close.
Yes, he is.
To
100%.
what I looked like when I was little. Callan was pretty close for a while, and
Callan's like a good mix between the two of you.
Yeah, he looks a lot like both of us. So, but Sammy's like a fucking dead ringer for when I was that age, that 5 to 7 range. It's kind of crazy. So if I ever write a screenplay in the next 6 months about myself when I was a kid, it'll be boring as shit. But Sammy could play the part.
That's the other thing is like that. I would need to write that and make that now. That script, I think, about my true story script. Yeah. And I really, really want to. And like my sister and I have been kind of trying to find information about these kidnappers and what happened to them. Yeah. And it's not easy.
I mean,
like it's all supposed to be public record, and these people are supposed to get the information for you, but like they don't want to.
Yeah. Interesting.
Outside of like running down to Tennessee or running down to San Francisco, like since it happened in Tennessee, they turned themselves in San Francisco. FBI is involved as well.
Oh,
like know, so you've got like 3 different organizations that you need to talk to get any kind of information. And, like they're trying to do their real. They're
trying to do the real jobs, not just.
Oh, here's some paperwork that maybe exists Like
maybe doesn't.
I know, or maybe doesn't.
Or maybe it's in a box somewhere a million years ago. They got flooded out and it doesn't exist, or it's whatever.
Yeah.
It's illegible.
Yeah, so I don't know. I should write it though.
You should write it at the very least.
You didn't even listen to it, did you? Like I posted the link to the story, the podcast to you guys, you and Greg.
Oh, okay.
So you could like download it and listen to it. But
I saw that. But I haven't done that yet. I thought you were waiting. I didn't know that's what that was.
I mean, any help that I can get, like if you guys listen to it and you're like, yeah, here's an idea.
Okay.
Because for me, it's like, how am I going to make up conversations that people had 40 years ago?
Sure.
30 years ago, and I have no idea what they talked about, right? And like... Writing a treatment is number 1, right? And then I could just ask my mom, like, hey, what did you guys talk about? My stepdad's dead now, Right. It's fucked up and weird.
It is weird, but that's how shit gets made.
It is. It is how shit gets made. Man, you're keep looking at your phone. You're ready to get out of here.
I'm starving.
Okay.
So,
well, that's Sequel Podcast for this week.
Well, if we don't do another one between now and then, which I think we should.
Well, look, if you watch the drop and come back,
and then we'll do another one next Friday. I think we're watching Die Hard as a cast.
Oh, really?
In the theater, yeah.
Oh, is it playing? Or are you in the theater?
We're going to watch it at our theater.
Okay.
But they said we can invite our friends if we want, or whatever, like our significant others / friends. So after 8, if you want to come to the theater and watch Die Hard with a bunch of theater nerds.
We might be editing next Friday.
That's true. But
gotta finish this goddamn fucking movie, dude.
It looks like you're at the beginning right now. What are you even doing with your life?
I know. It sucks. It sucks because I'm available every day after work. Greg is not.
Yeah, well, he's a big boy. He's got a girlfriend and work and jobs and stuff and things to do. Greg's a very important man in his own life. As you
we
are
all
in
are.
Life.
We all are in our own lives.
I mean, we're all important to ourselves and to other people around us.
Yeah.
I mean, look at how important Greg is to you. You imagine competing with the woman he's sleeping with?
It's not a matter. I don't think I'm competing with her in any way, shape, or form.
That was a joke.
I'm competing with the other people that he works with.
It's a joke.
I know it's a joke.
But you are competing professionally with his time as a film producer, editor, director. So yes.
Yes. That's why I'm sitting here.
Yeah?
With the minute 1.5.
Hey.
Trying to look at some coloring. Look at some coloring shit.
It's awfully blown out right there. Is it supposed to be?
Oh, well, everyone's different, right? So I'm looking for the one that I like. So, like, what if that was the aesthetic that I liked? That's what I'd go with.
Gotcha.
It's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for something a little bit more real. But, like, yeah, each one, I got like 1 million of them, right? Which one looks cool? That's all it is.
Gotcha.
You know, that one doesn't look good here. Maybe that one looks good on another one. And I got to do that for everything.
8 billion frames.
And it might not, well, not frame per frame, right? Like, this chunk will probably all be the same. This chunk will probably all be the same.
Gotcha.
But it might not render. So.
The plight of your art.
I mean, I filmed the movie.
Yeah?
Right.
Yeah, that's step 1. All right.
Okay.
Let's wrap it.
I'm Matt Bonta.
And I'm Cory Easley. And I'm fucking starving.
Happy Thanksgiving.